Hey, it's AB.
And we also have Gil, 55.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Today we're going to be talking about why most PvP teams fail. Going to go through the common mistakes, ego versus teamwork, why power doesn't equal success. We're going to look at a couple failed teams, and what makes a good PvP team. As a PvP main team, top alliances, we have a decently in-depth understanding of this. As with Evony, nothing's perfect. What are some common mistakes you see most teams making?
Generally speaking, I think the biggest mistake I see is focusing PvP efforts around a single player. At its core, this is definitely a team effort. You'll have much more success if you're rallying, if you're reinforcing, if you're defending against rallies, helping your teammates along. But what I see often is you've got one really, really big player, like a K43, 44, or higher, who's taking all the hits, and everyone else is just kind of along for the ride.
You mean
And
soloing,
that
right?
soloing, absolutely. So that'll certainly do well for a while. You'll get some good points, but you're going to hit a ceiling. There's going to be a point at which that one player can't go any further, can't zero a target, for example. Whereas with a rally, if you're coordinating with a team, you can maximize your available points you can score.
Gil,
Yes.
other than what AB said, any other common mistakes you see?
No, I agree with that 100%. And I think that one of the other biggest things is if you don't have some type of coordination with your team, you're definitely going to get, kind of stonewalled somewhere. Like when you have one person doing the soloing, that's bad team coordination because you're leaving all your other players, whether they're big or small, you're leaving them pretty much vulnerable out there to where somebody so they see them, they're gonna take the hit on them. So I think team coordination is very, very big. That needs to, definitely needs to be done with all teams doing PvP.
So I think that's a really important point. And part of it is when you first get started with a team, it's hard to find your rhythm at first. And it just takes lots and lots and lots of practice. Um, I would say it probably took us at least 2, 3, 4 months to really find our rhythm, to know the plays, to get fast, to anticipate what the others were going to do. And so as you're getting started, it's going to be rough, but it's just practice, practice, practice. Use every battlefield you can to
Yeah.
to hone that coordination. It's chatting offline to talk about what worked and what didn't work. Uh, but so much of this is just practice and getting down to a routine and finding your rhythm as a team. I mean, this game is certainly a black box. You get a report at the end of an attack, and you're trying to figure out what killed what and what defended against what, and it it's not breaking it down necessarily very clearly. And so there are tons of YouTube channels out there, tons of Discord servers devoted to all of this, tons of really experienced players, and it's using all of that and kind of getting a feel for what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, as well as knowing what to send. I remember back in BTC, we were sending ground at a 5 bill keep, and it would splat every time.
I mean, that's a great point. Like, you're going to make mistakes when you first get started playing this. You're going to make bad calls. You're going to send the wrong thing. You're going to hit higher than you should be hitting. You're going to splat. It's going to happen. I mean, to this day, we still splat from time to time, but it's just figuring out what works and what doesn't. And it's going through every single report that gets generated.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's and this game is not. It's there's not a very good, easy to do manual with this game. You know, you will make mistakes from the beginning with as far as just the littlest things like you know a general that you think is good, which is really not. You got to just find your rhythm primarily. I mean, listen, our server is just hitting a year old now, and we're always still learning something new. You know.
Yeah. All right, moving into the next topic. Why power doesn't equal success in a PvP team?
Okay, I have
Oh,
a
we're
whole bunch
definitely
of
going to let
thoughts.
AB take this one.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of thoughts on this one. So that is the misconception that everyone has going into this game. I need a gazillion troops. I need tons of power. And oh, by the way, I need the highest troop tier I can. If they're T14s, that must mean that they're better than T13s. And so I need lots and lots and lots and lots of them. And if I have that, then I'll be unstoppable. No, you will explode, okay? The trick with this game is it's a math game at bottom. It's buffs versus buffs. It's debuffed buffs versus debuffed buffs. It's the right troops hitting the right troops. It's having the right composition, not top heavy keeps. It's not having the most power. It's having the strongest buffs, the best debuffs, and a smart composition. But anytime we see in either Battlefield or SVS some super top heavy player, lots and lots and lots of T14 cabs or lots and lots and lots of siege or whatever, we start salivating because at that point they're a great target and we know we're going to cut right through them. So don't buy into the initial misconception that I need tons of power, tons of troops, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's making sure you've got the right composition. It's making sure you spend all of your time getting your buffs as high as you can. It's spending all of your time getting your debuffs as high as you can. That's the success to building a smart defense.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. Absolutely.
Yeah, people are starting off. You see the generic T1 trap, which is probably, I mean, as long as I've been playing, I think that's probably the best thing for smaller players to start with, because you know what, you have minimum troops, you don't have high tier troops that are going to cost you points, whether it's Battlefield, whether it's SVS, and then once you start having that solid foundation, that's when you can consider. I'm going to say consider as a open word, because there are K41s and above that are still using flats, on their generals, because they still feel that the flats are where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also you have your players that will convert to their percentage buffs, which do help in times, and sometimes they don't, because they might not do the right troop tier or the troop percentage. For example, like we'll find those exact same keeps that will be a K39 with uh, 5 million T14s in there, all the way down going to T1 with maybe what, one purple percentage mount attack,
Mm-hmm.
maybe troop load,
Yeah.
and that's just going to be, like AB said before, it's going to implode when we hit.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, as you're getting started, there's a temptation to just start building troops. Like you may see other people on your team and maybe they're rallying bosses and they're hitting with their horses, and you think, gosh, I want to do that, and I want to make some T13s or
I want to be like
T14s,
that when I
whatever.
grow up.
I want to be like that when I grow up, right? I mean, that's the temptation. I want to start making troops because I feel like that's the point of the game, to have troops.
And I
The
fell into that
safest thing,
temptation at the start. I recently
sure,
had to delete about 500 million worth of power in Siege because I just
Guilty
sure,
by
can't defend that.
association. Listen, we will come across that at one point or another. And you're like, oh, okay, let's just build all these troops.
Yeah.
I mean,
Whether it's for a stupid event, like Huns, everybody builds all the siege for Huns, which is great for that event. But then once that event's over and SVS starts and you see somebody hitting you with siege and it explodes, that's why.
exactly. I mean, so that's the temptation. the best thing you can do is, I think, wait until you're maybe K36, K37. You built up your buffs a little bit. Maybe you've worked on your T1 wall. Um, then you start working on your higher layers, because until then, you can't defend them, right? Like if you're a K34 and you've got a billion power, you can't defend that. You will blow up. Um, so that's the temptation. My suggestion is wait for a while until you get your buffs to a competitive point, and you understand the notion of composition before you really start building those higher tier troops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can give you an example right now too. I mean, currently right now my keep is at 41, and I have yet to still unlock T15s. And the reason why is behind that is that I don't feel comfortable with my buffs being where they're at to support those troops. So
And and to that point, Gil, there are people who wait until they're K44 before they unlock their T15s, right? I mean, it's
yeah,
the same logic. Just if I don't have the buffs to protect them, right, it's just going to give up free points.
exactly. And those are the highest points you can give, especially in SVS or
Correct.
Battlefield.
Very good points. Remember, it's never going to destroy your account if you make too many troops. All you need to do is rework it.
That's right.
Yeah,
You can always get rid
that
of
was
them in
one thing
PvP.
that was one thing I figured out with Siege. Was again, like I said, I was one of those people that said, "Oh yeah, let's make some million Siege." Well, guess what? I found that that was the first thing people were targeting when I was in SVS and Battlefield, and I said, "You know what? We're gonna get rid of it." So now all those layers are under 500k, and every time I get a Siege attack, it it just doesn't end well for the other player.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's okay to make the mistakes. You just gotta understand that it is a mistake, and you gotta just correct it.
Yep.
Everything should be a triangle.
Absolutely. That's the best advice, right, for composition. Your top tier is going to take the most damage, uh, whether it's a rally or a solo, a strong solo. It's going to be your very highest tier that's going to get targeted first, right? So if they send archers, your highest tier mounted are going to get targeted first. Your second highest tier targeted second. That is just the nature of the battle mechanics. And so an upside down triangle, super top heavy T14s, um, and then it thins out as you go down. That is just that's offering a massive power loss to the other side. Whereas if you have a very slim top tier built with a right side up pyramid, you have your lower tier troops. You're forcing your lower tier troops to either absorb the attacks or do the killing, right, with the T1 wall. But that's the most critical way of thinking about composition for a very long time. For a very, very, very long time. You will get to a point where your buffs are high enough to sustain something maybe a little different, but very long time in the game, it'll be a triangle shaped composition.
Agreed. And no matter what, whether it's a solo or a rally, your defenses will always look better if you're being reinforced. This is not a solo game.
Great point.
Yeah.
On that point, though, I mean, one thing to think about, right? Like, let's say you're playing and you think you have a really great defense and a rally is set on you and it's 4 or 5 players. I think there are some players out there who think that it makes them weak to take reinforcements. They think, if I can't handle a rally, my defense is a failure or something. I think there's just like a lot of people who think that way. And the way I always think about it is this: if it's 5 against 1, why wouldn't you level the playing field? Why wouldn't you take the reinforcements, make it 3 against 5, 4 against 5, 10 against 5, whatever it may be? Um, and that goes back to the broader point that Gil was mentioning of coordination, right? And making sure you have that rhythm. You know how to watch for rallies. You know how to send the right reinforcements, etc.
Agreed. All right. Example of
You
PvP
can-
teams that need improvement. Now we got our first people here, Lag. We faced them in Shalons last weekend. and their K43, their top player, just played solo the whole time and eventually got zeroed.
Yep. And that goes back to what we were discussing before. I mean, to have an effective and successful PvP team, you've got to have a team. It cannot be held up by a single player.
I mean, you're not going to change some mindsets of some players, but at the end of the day, if you're going to just sit there and play solo, you need to expect that you're not going to do very well at some point. Because if it's not one battlefield, it could be another. That one team may have two K44s, one K 43. Then maybe they're not great, but then next battlefield you get paired in might be a K46 and a K45 and two K44s, and they rally you in seconds, and that's it.
Correct.
Yeah. And they ended Shalons with 142,000 points. Their top player was the K43 from all the solos and all that, but they only ended with 63,000 points. If they had rallied, they might have done a lot better.
Or played the reinforcement game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those teammates were going to be likely targets for rallies. Some were multi-billion powered players, which in an event like that are great targets for rallies. Perhaps your stronger players reinforce those. And again, that goes back to the coordination. If you're being rallied, you call it. You make sure your teammates are reinforcing you to counter that. That's a great opportunity for the target to acquire points, and more important, for the team to acquire points. May not be enough to push you ahead into third, second, first position, but that's the key to playing PvP. It's not playing the solo game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are things in the game that you should be doing in the solo game.
Sure,
you do it for
sure.
all. You got to do it for all stars. Sometimes you got to do it for top 200s of battlefields. But
Sure.
ultimately, it goes back to the beginning. This is a team game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a prime example, though, of hitting the ceiling, right? Like, if you're going to play the solo game like that, and you're not going to have a lot of coordination, there's just going to be a point at which you cannot exceed on your own. You cannot, because the teams you're facing are going to be coordinated. They are going to be playing the team game. And they're either going to zero you, or you're not going to be able to zero them. I would add, like, if you're just getting started in this, I mean, one thing that is helpful is to have a designated time slot for your battlefields every week. And at least that way people can, to the extent possible, plan around them.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
We have a set time we play Bog. We have a set time we play Zama. We have 2 time slots we play Bach, depending on whether it's an SVS weekend or not. And so that way there's predictability. And the time slots we've selected generally work across the time zones. Bog is the hard one because it's in the middle of the week, but the other two, we have pretty good turnout. But that seems to help in terms of just managing and organizing the team.
Agreed. And we always send out the mail to see who's going to show up.
Yep.
Yeah, Jay, I remember there was a time when we first started on the server that I think we were choosing the second to last slot for like Zama or something. And nobody would show up.
It was for everything pretty much, because that was like one of the few times I had, because I was working nights at the bar at that time.
Yeah, we literally would join the battlefield and nobody would show up. So we're sitting there going, well, what are we going to do?
But
I guess we're going to practice on our buildings.
That's also something that just happens at the start of a new server, is you'll be paired against other new servers or slightly older servers that their team merged or something. So you'll be going against little to no one for a while.
True.